Welcome, friends, to an extra special episode of A VGM Journey. And I'm your host, The Messenger. The track that we're playing in this week's show is Snowland from the game Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. It was originally composed by Minanko Himano, and this was arranged by the Mario Kart 8 band. I can't believe that it's that time of year again. The Secret Santa Special. And you're probably asking yourself, what is the Secret Santa Special? The Secret Santa Special is a special holiday episode that I put together where I have people gift each other gifts, but they have no idea where these gifts are coming from. And they're also giving somebody a gift of their own. Maybe it's Christmassy, or maybe it's a track that that person really likes. And trust me, we have a lot of really good songs on the show. And it's quite possibly one of the biggest episodes I will ever release, too. I mean, I have had so many people participate in this. And I say, let's kick things off with our first gift, which is coming from Chris Murray. And this will be a gift for UtopiaNemo. And that track that he'll be receiving is Forest from the game McDonald's Treasure Land Adventure. And it was composed by Katsuhiko Suzuki. That track that you just heard, that was Forest from the game McDonald's Treasure Land Adventure. It was composed by Katsuhiko Suzuki, and this was a gift from Chris Murray for UtopiaNemo. I think UtopiaNemo would definitely like this track. He's kind of an FM nut, and I'm surprised on how good the soundtrack for McDonald's Treasure Land Adventures is. And oddly, the game is developed by Tresure of all companies. Best known for Gunstar Heroes, Alien Soldier, Sin and Punishment, quite a handful of games. Heck, they even did Wario World, which is really cool. And I believe this is the opening stage for the game as well, and I feel as though it sets the right tone. Really fun stuff. And like I said, I think UtopiaNemo would really like this, so I just want to say thank you, Chris, for that awesome track for UtopiaNemo. We're going to move on to our next gift, which this is actually a twofer, and this is coming from Professor Tom, the host of Shujin Academy VGM Club. And he wanted to give these gifts to Jameson, the host of Bar Silence. And those tracks are Password and Ending from the game Military Madness and it was composed by Jun Chikuma. Those tracks that you just heard, they were Password and Ending from the game Military Madness. It was composed by Jun Chikuma, and this was a gift from Professor Tom for Jameson. When I assigned Jameson to Professor Tom as his Secret Santa assignment, he got right back to me on the spot, and he knew exactly what he wanted to do. It was as if the stars aligned. So he told me that Jameson really loves Jun Chikuma, and that Professor Tom really liked the soundtrack to Military Madness. And I think this is some really good stuff, especially the ending theme. So I think the Password theme is good, but this ending theme, I think it's on a whole different level compared to it. And in a weird way, I like to think of the Password theme as like a stocking stuffer, and the ending theme as the quote-unquote real present. But this is some really good stuff. So I just want to say thank you, Professor Tom, for that awesome gifts for Jameson. I'm sure he's going to really like it. We're going to move on to some pretty rocking stuff. And this next track is coming from Rob Nichols, one of the hosts of Rhythm and Pixels. And he's giving this gift to the Last Rican, host of VGM Fight Club. The track is Holy Orders, and it's coming from the game Guilty Gear and composed by Daisuke Ishiwatare. That track that you just heard, that was Holy Orders from the game Guilty Gear. It was composed by Daisuke Ishiwatare, and this was a gift from Rob Nichols for The Last Rican. This is totally up the Last Rican's alley. I mean, it's rocking stuff, it's a fighting game, anime style. This is like Nirvana, except not the band, but actual legit Nirvana for The Last Rican. And personally for me, I'm not really into Guilty Gears. It looks cool, but it's not for me. I think it's always had like a really cool art style though, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just kind of vanilla and just want to play Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat, but this looks really cool. And if I know The Last Rican, I could tell he's probably screaming at his podcast device right now, saying, what the heck? You really need to play this. And maybe someday I will. So I just want to say thank you, Rob, for that awesome track for The Last Rican. I think I should say going into this next track that when I assign the Secret Santa assignments to everyone, there's a lot of secrecy for this project. And I don't really tell people like what other people are getting whoever. And I cannot believe this hasn't happened in the previous two Secret Santa specials, but I've had not one, but two different weird coincidences with song picks for this special. And for this first weird coincidence, this track from Bedroth for Prof Jeff has a track where it has the same composer, Daisuke Ishiwatare, as the composer, and this wasn't planned. So we're going to have back-to-back Daisuke Ishiwatare tracks, but it's going to be a different game, though. This is coming from BlazBlue Calamity Trigger, and the track is Bullet Dance. That track that you just heard, that was Bullet Dance from the game BlazBlue Calamity Trigger. It was composed by Daisuke Ishiwatare, and this was a gift from Bedroth for Prof Jeff. I think the few times that I've talked to Prof Jeff and also listening to his music taste on Very Good Music, that I think Prof Jeff would really like this track. And I know that Bedroth knows him the best out of literally everybody in the VGM podcasting community. So I'm trusting that Bedroth knows what he's doing and that Prof Jeff would really like this track. And I think just like the Guilty Gear track, I think this is some really good stuff for a game that I have no interest in whatsoever. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that this is a spiritual successor to Guilty Gear. I think it goes for a similar anime style with rocking tracks. Probably same developer too, I think. I will admit, I didn't exactly do the research. And there's nothing like melting your face for Christmas, like listening to back-to-back Daisuke Ishiwatare tracks. Seems like a lot of great minds think alike. So I just want to say once again, thank you, Bedroth, for that awesome track for Prof Jeff. He's gonna really like that. We're gonna move on to a gift from Ed Wilson of the VG Embassy. And he had this gift for Scott McElhone. And this is a really cool one. This is coming from Spider-Man 2, based off the movie. And the track is Hairy Legs, and this was composed by Michael McCuistion and Lolita Ritmanis. That track that you just heard, that was Hairy Legs from the game Spider-Man 2. It was composed by Michael McCuistion and Lolita Ritmanis, and this was a gift from Ed Wilson for Scott McElhone. And Ed had this to say: I was really excited to hear my Secret Santa gift was for Scott. He's been a huge supporter of both the VG Embassy and the Arcane Machine, and it fills me with joy when he reaches out to tell me he's enjoyed one of my latest episodes. Since I know he's a fan of both VGM and industrial music, I'm gifting some VGM written by an industrial band. Spider-Man 2 has some fantastic dance rock and industrial metal tracks from the veteran industrial gods known as KMFDM. And Hairy Legs is one of my faves. Happy holidays, everyone. I think that was really nice, Ed. And thank you for that testimonial, too. I absolutely love the Spider-Man 2 video game. And for a licensed game based off of a movie, it is really fantastic. I mean, it was the first Spider-Man game where it was open world and you got to swing around New York City fighting bad guys and doing various activities like delivering pizza. And the soundtrack weirdly fits Spider-Man. So I could definitely rock out to the song while I'm punching bad guys in the face. And I actually played the game in the last couple years, and I think it still holds up quite a bit. I don't think it's as good as the more recent Spider-Man games, but for an almost 20-year-old game, it's really good. So I just want to say thank you, Ed, for that awesome gift for Scott. We're going to move on to a classic 8-bit track, and this is coming from Martyrus, the host of ReVGM, and his gift was for Rayjkayj, the host of the VG Emporium. And Martyrus wanted to give him the track Good Weather from the game Gimmick, and it was composed by Masashi Kageyama. That track that you just heard, that was Good Weather from the game Gimmick. It was composed by Masashi Kageyama, and this was a gift from Martyrus for Rayjkayj. I think this was an awesome gift for Rayjkayj, so I know he's a fan of the soundtrack, and I am too. I mean, heck, I had that 30th anniversary remix album Focus on the show many months ago, and it just showed how amazing the soundtrack was. And I do wonder if it was able to be as amazing as it was because of the extra sound capabilities, or was it because the composition was really strong? Or maybe it was just a little of both. And for the track itself, I get more of a fun summertime vibe from it. So if you live somewhere where there's a lot of snow and you're just trying to keep warm, maybe a track like this would definitely warm you up. So I just want to say once again, thank you, Martyrus, for that awesome gift for Rayjkayj. We're going to move on to a gift from Kung Fu Carlito for Pernell, the other host of Rhythm and Pixels. And he wanted me to play this really awesome cover of Mount Lava Lava from Wario Land Shake It. It was originally composed by Tomoya Tomita, and this arrangement was done by Do a Barrel Roll. That track that you just heard, that was Mount Lava Lava from the game Wario Land Shake It. It was originally composed by Tomoya Tomita, and this arrangement was done by Do a Barrel Roll. Oh, and this was also a gift from Kung Fu Carlito for Pernell. I love the original track, and this arrangement, it's a little odd to me because I don't think it does things a whole lot different than the original, but it also somehow blows the original away. And I think it's mainly because of the production for it. It sounds more livelier than the original. And Wario Land Shake It was a pretty fun game for the Wii. And the thing that really stuck out to me game-wise was the art style of the game, which it was a 2D game, but it had this anime style to it. And there were no sprites. And just like the track name suggested, it took place in a volcano level. And it just oddly fit the level. Like, yeah, it was super funky, but it also brought the fire too. And I'm actually not too familiar with Do a Barrel Roll. I think that's a band that I would like to check out sometime. See some of their other covers. So I think this alone is really amazing. So I just want to say, once again, thank you, Kung Fu Carlito, for that awesome gift for Pernell. And speaking of Pernell, your gift is up next. And you got this track for Chris Murray. The track that you brought is Black Innocence, specifically the instrumental version, from the game Eurokill, the Calamity game. And this was composed by Yuko Kamiyama. That track that you just heard, that was Black Innocence, the instrumental version, from the game Eurokill, the culmination game. It was composed by Yuko Kageyama, and this was a gift from Pernell for Chris Murray. I've now got to a point where whenever I hear a track like this, I just know that it's a Chris Murray kind of track. And it's with the combination of that rocking orchestral sound, very anime-esque. And I could already tell that Chris is just grinning from ear to ear whenever he listens to this kind of stuff. And I'll admit, this game fell way under the radar for me. I've actually never heard of it until Pernell said something about it. But I definitely dig this track. I think this is really cool. So I just want to say once again, thank you, Pernell, for that gift for Chris. We're going to move on to a Secret Santa first, where I gave somebody a Secret Santa gift. And this is going to Hammock of KVGM The Last Wave. I decided to bring to you, my friend, a track from the game Catherine. The track is Act on Instinct, and this was composed by Shoji Meguro. That track that you just heard, that was Act on Instinct from the game Catherine. It was composed by Shoji Meguro, and this was a gift from me for Hammock. So I really hope you like this one, Hammock. Overall, it's a pretty chill track. I mean, the guitar part was a little less chill, but other than that, I mean, it was super chill. And the game itself has a bit of a cult following. So even though I've never played the game, I've been well aware of its existence and what it's about. And that it's a puzzle game with some, I don't want to say dating sim-like elements. And if I'm remembering the premise of the game right, you're this guy who is, I want to say, engaged to somebody named Catherine with a K. But then you meet this woman at a bar whose name is Catherine with a C, and you wind up sleeping with her, and then you kind of just have this moral dilemma of, do you just want to keep that a secret or not? But then it turns out that this Catherine with a C is a succubus, and like just weirdness just happens. And to be honest, the whole sexual nature of the game, it's not really up my alley. But it was really cool that we have the Persona composer Shoji Meguro doing the soundtrack for the game. So the soundtrack is actually pretty good. So I hope you enjoyed that track, Hammock, and keep up the good work with KVGM. It's a lot of good stuff. We're going to move on to this track from The Last Rican, and he wanted me to play this track for Professor Tom. It is We Ain't Come to Lose from the game Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge, and this was performed by Rayjkayj and Ghostface Killah.
Nice to meet you, now I'm here to beat reach it with full force, mess up your facial features. Hasta la vista, I'm selling all y'all little Caesars. All y'all stuff your face with is pizza. Pizza crack like a hard-boiled egg on Easter. See these muscles on me? I could beat your teacher. I'll defeat Leonardo, y'all become the weakest. I take off all of your mass and dismantle your features. Shredder, I cross the line like a letter. Smash all of you turtles, put you back together. Indeed, I squish turtles like a tight girdle. Any obstacle, I clear it like a high hurdle. My stomach cringes for all of you fake ninjas. Fighting you are winless, show you what revenge is. Diabolical moves, strike with mad vengeance. Ask Splinter, he know I'm coming with bad intentions. We ain't came to lose. 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 I think it's time to call a war. Still face foot playing villains and more. With heroes in a half shell going to war. Got the city under siege and they holding the fort. Got extra large pizza boxes all on the floor. Get sized up by a negative force. Your time's up on whatever you thought. Individual starving the floor. So the samurai swords on point for the cause. Dangerous metals highlight the reign of terror. The twilight meets the reign of Shredder. All for one and train together. The dark clouds and the strangest weather. Breaking news, the front line sprayed with ooze. No sunshine, only dangerous rules. We fly with nunchucks that'll tame your crews. And lace the enemies, we ain't came to lose. 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 We ain't came to lose.
That track that you just listened to, that was We Ain't Come to Lose from the game Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge. It was performed by Rayjkayj and Ghostface Killah, and this was a gift from the Last Rican to Professor Tom. So I hope you like the gift, Professor Tom. Is it a little odd to say that I'm very surprised that TMNT Shredder's Revenge turned out as good as it was? So I thought maybe at best it would have been just a neat little throwback to the old beat 'em ups from the 90s, but it turned out better than that. I haven't played too much of the game, but the little bit that I have played, it is a lot of fun. And I guess as a little bit of a hot take, I think the vocal tracks on the soundtrack, I think, is actually some of the weaker stuff on the soundtrack. I'm not saying it's bad or horrible or anything. I'm just saying that a lot of the other tracks, especially a lot of T. Lope's stuff, is really good. But at the same time, I think a track like this is supposed to be just fun and not taken super seriously, which TMNT was always kind of over the top and mainly just about fun and not as something like, I don't know, high art. And what's really cool about the game is that it's not just the Turtles that you could play as. You could play as Master Splinter, you could be April, and you could also be Casey Jones as well. So I think that's pretty neat. And I think 2022 was a really good year for video game players that were really into Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, because like having both this and also the Cowabunga collection coming out within a like 3 to 4 month span, I think that was really awesome. And actually the Cowabunga collection has been a lot of fun as well. So I just want to say thank you, Last Rican, for that gift for Professor Tom. I'm sure he's going to like it. We're going to move on to a track from UtopiaNemo, and this is going to be for Rob Nichols. The track is Multi-Level Parking Tower, and this is from the game Ghost in the Shell, and it was composed by Nobuyoshi Sano. A little bit of an editor's note. I've incorrectly named the game as just Ghost in the Shell. It's actually Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex, and that it's not a PlayStation 1 game, it's actually a PlayStation 2 game. That track that you just heard, that was Multi-Level Parking Tower from the game Ghost in the Shell. It was composed by Nobuyoshi Sano, and this was a gift from UtopiaNemo for Rob Nichols. And UtopiaNemo had this to say: "To Mr. Rob Effin Nichols, happy holidays. Hope you like. It calls for your best headphones or a really good hi-fi." Well, that was short and sweet, and that was pretty awesome, Nemo. And I could definitely tell this is a Rob Nichols type of track because he's really into drum and bass. And there's a lot of drums in this, especially towards the end. I'm not entirely sure if the game 100% follows the movie. So, I mean, I've never seen it, or even played this game either. But I did hear that it was a well-made PlayStation 1 game. And I do wonder if the rest of the soundtrack kind of has this drum and bass sound to it as well. As I think that's pretty cool. I don't think I would be all that surprised if Rob somehow played this game too. So I just want to once again say thank you, UtopiaNemo, for that track for Rob. I think we should keep this anime style train going with this next track, which is coming from Prof Jeff for Ed Wilson. The track is Battle Dance from the game Daemon X Machina, and this was composed by Yusuke Yamauchi.
Smack. smack.
That track that you just heard, that was Battle Dance from the game Daemon X Machina. It was composed by Yusuke Yamauchi, and this was a gift from Prof Jeff for Ed Wilson. And Prof Jeff had this to say: I have to admit that I've always liked Ed Wilson. Part of it is that Bedroth's middle name is Ed, and my last name is Wilson. So he sounds like a fusion between us. But he also has a really nice voice, great taste in music, and I'm super glad his podcast is back up and running. Though the VG Embassy isn't affiliated with any country or government, there have been times in the past when embassies have had to defend themselves when enemies attacked and the great powers of the world found it convenient to look the other way. So in the spirit of keeping safe, holding the line, and throwing hands if necessary, I give you Battle Dance from Daemon X Machina. Wow, that is some fantastic stuff, Prof Jeff. And this was a really cool track too. I'm pretty confident that Ed's gonna really like this. And I have to admit, I knew of this game's existence, I knew it was coming out, but for some reason, like the actual release of the game kind of fell under the radar for me. And I actually thought it was going to be a Nintendo Switch exclusive too, but it wound up making its way to PC. But it's one of those mecha games where you're just flying around and shooting stuff pretty much. And listening to the track a little bit ago, I definitely get a bit of an industrial vibe to it as well. Though I will admit, I'm not very well versed in the world of industrial music. That is definitely Prof Jeff and Ed's wheelhouse, I would say. So I just want to say once again, thank you, Prof Jeff, for that track for Ed. We're going to move on to a track coming from Ryan Steele, who, if you don't know, is the composer of Catlandia and also friend of the show. And he brought this track for Naomi, and that track is Emilia from the game Saga Frontier, and this was composed by Kenji Ito. That track that you just heard, that was Emilia from the game Saga Frontier. It was composed by Kenji Ito, and this was a gift from Ryan Steele for Naomi. I'm sure Naomi's gonna like this. This track's got kind of a weird chillness to it with its funky bass, but I also get the feeling of sneaking around a little bit. I'm not really sure who this character is because it's their theme, but something tells me that there's probably more to them than meets the eye. I mean, I could be totally just pulling that out of nowhere, but... And Saga Frontier is one of those games where it has its fans, but has nowhere near the recognition as something like Final Fantasy VII, and that's kind of a shame, because this song is pretty cool, and I definitely want to check the rest of the soundtrack out. But what's funny about all this is that we actually don't have to wait all that long to play another song from Saga Frontier. This is where our other weird coincidence comes in, and it gets pretty crazy. So Rayjkayj picked an arrangement of a track from Saga Frontier, and he's gifting this to, well, Ryan Steele of all people. And of course, this was composed by Kenji Ito, and this was arranged for Rebirth 2. that track that you just heard, that was Battle 5 from the game Saga Frontier. It was originally composed by Kenji Ito, and this was arranged for Rebirth 2, and this was a gift from Rayjkayj for Ryan Steele. So it all comes full circle. Ryan gives a gift of Saga Frontier to somebody, and he receives a gift from Saga Frontier. I wound up listening to both the original track and this arrangement, and I have to say that it was quite amazing. And I know that Ryan's a bit of an RPG guy, and it seems like everyone's just subtly telling me, hey, check out this game. It's amazing. The soundtrack is amazing. There's a lot of good stuff about it. And we don't really plan out what tracks that everyone's going to give to each other. It just kind of happened. And it is so weird that Ryan gifted a track from Saga Frontier and got one in return. Like, that just blows my mind. And I hope you really like the track, because I certainly did. So I just want to say, once again, thank you, Rayjkayj, for that track for Ryan Steele. We're going to move on to a really nice arrangement, and this is a gift from Naomi for Martyrus. And we know how much Martyrus loves his covers and remixes and arrangements, so she wound up picking a really nice cover from Earthbound. The track is Snowman, and it was originally composed by Hirokazu Tanaka and Keiichi Suzuki, and this arrangement was done by Super Soul Brothers. That cover that you just listened to, that was Snowman from the game Earthbound. It was originally composed by Hirokazu Tanaka and Keiichi Suzuki, and this was an arrangement done by Super Soul Bros, and this was also a gift from Naomi for Martyrus. So thank you, Naomi. I think this was the perfect track for Martyrus. So you definitely get that Christmas vibe, but it's so chill. And we all know how much he loves arrangements and remixes and covers. Man, it's pretty jazzy. It definitely makes you want to sit by the fire, bundle up, drink some hot cocoa, or have a coffee, and just listen to some pretty chill tunes just like this. I also think Naomi went above and beyond for research, because she wasn't really familiar with Martyrus and his show, ReVGM, but she did look into a few episodes to get an idea of what Martyrus would like. And I have a really good feeling that she pulled it off here. So I just want to say, once again, thank you, Naomi, for that track for Martyrus. I think we're going to move on to another track. This is coming from Scott McElhone, and this is going to be a gift for Kung Fu Carlito. This is Christmas into Nightopia from the game Christmas Nights into Dreams, which there's a whole lot of jingle bells in this, so I'm crediting the original composer for Jingle Bells, which that was James Lord Pierpont, and this arrangement was done by Naofumi Hitaya, Tomoya Sasaki, and Fumi Kumatani. Track that you just listened to, that was Christmas in Nightopia from the game Christmas Nights into Dreams. The original Jingle Bells was originally composed by James Lord Pierpont, and this arrangement was done by Naofumi Hitaya, Tomoya Sasaki, and Fumi Kumatani, and this was a gift from Scott McElhone for Kung Fu Carlito. So thank you, Scott, for that track. I guess if there was ever an appropriate time for some jingle bells and festive-sounding video game music, then I would think now is the best time for that. And I have a feeling that Kung Fu Carlito is probably grinning from ear to ear with how super happy and festive this track sounds. Scott did admit that this isn't exactly a traditional Kung Fu Carlito type of track, but he did think this was an anime-adjacent game, which would be up his alley. And I feel inclined to agree with that, too. I think maybe it is a little good to come up with something just a little unexpected. And it's definitely got me in the holiday mood. So I think you did a really good job with that, Scott. And thank you for that track for Kung Fu Carlito. We're going to move on to something else. Something a bit different. And this track is coming from Hammock for Carly. And the track that he went with was track 8 from the game Alpine Racer 3. And this was composed by the Namco Sound Team. That track that you just heard, that was track 8 from the game Alpine Racer 3. It was composed by the Namco sound team, and this was a gift from Hammock for Carly. He also had this to say: "Nothing says happy holidays more than competitive downhill skiing to some spankin' drum and bass. I hope you enjoy this little stocking stuffer, or ski boot stuffer, and I wish you and Alex the Messenger of a VGM Journey fame a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year." Well, I'll say this, Hammock. I highly appreciate that. And I'm sure when Carly listens to this episode, I think she'll appreciate that as well. And this track is definitely up her alley. So I think just like Rob Nichols, she's really into drum and bass. And she's also a really big fan of a lot of soundtracks that the Namco sound team has worked on. So a little known fact, she's also a really big fan of R4, Ridge Racer Type 4. And that's definitely got a lot of stuff that she's super into as well. And if memory serves me right, she's also really into Cool Borders as well on the original PlayStation. Or at least specifically Cool Borders 2. But I could tell you that she's definitely going to be really happy with this. So thank you, Hammock. That was really cool that you picked this track for her. We're going to move on to this next track. And this is coming from Jameson. And he picked this track out for Bedroth. And that track is Neon Knight Riders AD 2020 from the game Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Turtles in Time. And this was composed by Matsuhiko Izumi and Tsutomu Ogura. That track that you just heard, that was Neon Knight Riders AD 2020 from the game Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Turtles in Time. It was composed by Matsuhiko Izumi, and this was a gift from Jameson for Bedroth. And Jameson had this to say: "There was an episode of Very Good Music back in 2020 where Shukapel picked songs from Bedroth's favorite games. We have a lot of overlap, so it made for a great episode to listen to, and Bedroth included Turtles in Time on his list, and that is an absolute favorite of mine too. I spent hours playing this game, and I could listen to this soundtrack probably for the rest of my life. So for Bedroth, I have selected the arcade version of Neon Knight Riders AD 2020 by Matsuhiko Izumi." I think that's really cool, Jameson. And this track is such a classic. I mean, heck, that whole soundtrack is a classic. I don't really listen to the arcade version all that much, so I'm more used to the Super Nintendo version. But the arcade version, it's a lot of good stuff. And it's really cool to find out that your fellow it's really cool to find out that your fellow VGM podcasters are into a lot of the same things as you are. And that I think moments like this where you could share the gift and have a great moment together. Or have the realization that the things that you love, somebody else loves those too. And that you could bond over that love. Or maybe Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Turtles in Time kicks ass and that everyone should enjoy it. Or at least check it out. I think that works too. And with that, that was the Secret Santa Special 3. And I think once again, I think we had a really good show. Everyone picked really great tracks. And in no specific order, I'm going to thank each of you one by one that participated. So I want to thank Chris Murray, Professor Tom from Shujin Academy VGM Club, Rob Nichols from Rhythm and Pixels, and his co-host Pernell, Bedroth from Very Good Music and also BG Mania, Ed Wilson from VG Embassy, Martyrus from ReVGM, Kung Fu Carlito from the Heroes 3 podcast, Last Rican, the host of VGM Fight Club, UtopiaNemo, Prof Jeff, Ryan Steele, Rayjkayj, the host of VG Emporium, Naomi, Scott McElhone, Hammock, the host of KVGM The Last Wave, and Jameson from Bar Silence. You guys did great, and I really hope that you all have a Merry Christmas, a Happy Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, just happy holidays, and a Happy New Year as well. We're going to play things out with one more track, and this is a gift from Carly for myself, and for you guys too. I think you guys will enjoy this. And this is coming from the game Night Arms, the Hybrid Framer. The track is Loading, Arceus Christmas Song, and this was composed by Toshiya Yamanaka. Have a happy holidays, guys, and see you next year.